Hello everybody, my name is Jonas and I'm bringing you yet another Unreal Engine tutorial. And in this video I want to prepare some animations for a cover system. And if you guys have been following my channel, you may have seen my really long video. I just realized that it's really long. I'll try to keep this one shorter, but it's 44 minutes and I think it's by far the longest one I've ever done, and it won't happen again, I promise. Anyway, it's part 18 and I started with surrounding awareness, something with how to stay on the wall and keep camera limits to a certain extent. If you haven't watched this video, I think you should go and start out by looking at this one, because I'm gonna be using some of the stuff I made in this video, and also actually I'm gonna be using lots of this stuff in the next coming videos that will go from part 18 and forward up to, I think it's I believe it's what is it, from part 32. At least lots of it will be used. Anyway, let's get to it. Enough with the talk. So the animations I want to prepare this time is found on Mixamo once again, and the first one is called Cover Idle and looks like this, where the character is standing near a wall cover in cover, and there's an animation called Left Cover Sneak, which looks like this, which the character is moving left and a similar one moving to the right, like this. Okay. And also I included this one, Stand to Cover, which is the animation moving from an idle. Whoops. Okay. Great. Something happened with my mouse. Stand to Cover. This one, I think it was. Yeah. It looks like this, so going from a kind of idle pose and making a quick turn to stand on the wall, and that will line up with the cover idle, which looked like this, except that the character is turned 180 degrees. So go ahead and download these 4 animations first, and make sure they are downloaded in regular FBX. That means not in Unreal Engine format, but in FBX format, because we're gonna be working a little bit with these. So once you've downloaded them, I will continue the work in Maya. So I'm gonna make a new scene here, and I've already downloaded them, yeah, and I'm gonna import the first one. It's called Idle, and if we just click on any joint, we'll see that it's 68 frames long, so I'm just gonna adjust it first to that, and it's looking like this kind of just idle breathing pose. So okay, and as usual we are gonna add a root bone for this one. So I believe in this particular case you could just have added or downloaded in Unreal Engine format anyway. So zero out these. Well, I should maybe mention this one is called Create Joints. Click on this one and just click anywhere on the plane down here, and that will create that little ball here, and at first it will seem very small, so I just adjust the radius to 3, because all these existing joints have a radius of 3, so they are all the same now. And then because I didn't put it exactly at 0, I just make sure that it's all 0, 0, 0. So when that's done, I'm going to select the pelvis, make sure that you pick the select tool. So select the pelvis and shift hold and select the joint you just created, and then press P on your keyboard, and that will create this parent relationship. So I just noticed that I forgot to rename this to root, and then it needs to be called root. So that's actually all you need for this particular animation, I believe. So let's go ahead and export that. So I have my animations here, and this one was called idle, and I think I will call these cover idle, and then I'll give them the suffix rm for root motion. Although actually I won't be using root motion for this one anyway. Well, I'm just gonna keep. No, I'm gonna call it cover idle like this, because it is. I'm actually not gonna use root motion. Okay, so go ahead and make a new scene and proceed to the next one. And let's take taking cover. This is pretty easy as well. So we're going to do something similar. Make sure we know how many frames we have. This is actually the wrong one. I see. Sorry about that. Taking cover idle. Oh, I think I messed up something. It's stand to cover. It's this one. This one. So this is the animation jumping onto the wall. So yep, let's make sure that we only have 34 frames, and let's also make a root node for this one. Click here, you can see it very small. Make it 3 and 0. And 0, and call it root, and pick the hip bone and hold shift and click the root and press P again. So now we have a root for this one. So one thing you will notice here is that now the root is not moving with the animation, and we kind of want that. So we are going to be going to Windows, Animation Editors, and the Graph Editor. And let's see, we have the Translate X. Doesn't seem to be that one. Let's see, Translate Y could be the one. Yep, I'm pretty sure it's this one. So I'm just going to make a selection here and Control C to copy this, and I'm going to press arrow up on my keyboard to get to the root, and then I'm going to press Control V to paste this. And since I don't want my hip to be moving, but I want this to the root to be the joint that will be moving, then I will go back to the hip here and pick my Translate Y, which I just copied, and select all of this again. And I'm going to click this one called Region, Tool, Scale, or Move keys. And I'm going to just squash this together. So it's kind of flat here. And I'm going to Alt and middle click just to pan around, and then use the scroll mouse to get a little bit closer. Make sure that it's pretty flat, and then middle mouse without any keys, and then just move it up a little bit. If yours will jump back and forth, make sure that you have this one constrained y-axis drag selected, otherwise you can end up, you can see, moving it around a little bit. So I'm just going to control C that. Anyway, so make sure that it's only moving this way. So now we will have a root that will follow our character, so it's going to stay underneath us. So I'm pretty satisfied with this, so I'm just going to proceed and export this one. So I want to keep this in the same folder as the rest of the animations, and I want to call this one stand, so cover. And this one I will call root motion because I will be using root motion for this one. So just export this one, and let's do the next one, and then let's see, import. Let's take left cover sneak first and go through this one. So as usual, we pick just some joint, and see we have 34 down here, and limit it to this. And since I've already done this a few times, but I decided to start over because I kind of messed some stuff up. I know that this animation is turned 180 degrees, and I actually, I want him to be turned, another 180 degrees, so it's turning the other way around. So what I want to do here in this situation is to, I could try and rotate it around the hip. But one thing I already noticed here is that there's a rotation on the X and Y and Z. So this, if I try to rotate this one, the rotation would end up being wrong. If I just try to add something, for example, 197, if I added 180, he would end up kind of tilted in space. So this doesn't work this way. So what I need to do is actually to rotate him around imaginary root point. So I did this little trick just to continue to show how I did it. It's just to add a root bone, as I've done several times. Show this one out, call it root, and pick my my root and parent it, just as I've done several times now. And then I went ahead and picked my root here. So I think it's this one. I can just turn it like this. So now he's turned all the way around, and the animation is moving like this. Okay. So if I don't have the rotation, he's gonna actually move the other way around. So let's set it back to 180 like this. Okay. And one other thing I wanna go fix is because the hip is gonna be moving, and for this particular situation, I don't want the I don't want to use root motion. I actually want to drive the motion from the movement component in Unreal Engine. So I want to go and remove this movement on the hip. So we'll go into Animation Editor, Graph Editor, and arrow down to get to the hip. And let's see, we have the movement on, it looks like it's translate X. Okay, so I think I can just get away with removing this one. So now he's going to move in place, and now he's turned around like I want him to be. So one tiny problem is that I've now introduced a rotation on my root, which is really, really bad. I don't want this to have any rotation at all, because this is going to cause incompatibilities with the blending in Unreal Engine. So since it is rotated now and the animation is correct and everything is on this one is keyed, as you can see with all these red dashes down here, then I can, let's see, I think if I Shift P, I pick my hip bone and Shift P, and I move. So now he's going to stay in that position. So he is still rotated, and I can now click my root, which has the rotation, and I can zero this one out. And then I can go back and pick my hip bone and my root and reparent it again. So if I select my root now, you'll notice that it's lost its rotation here, but the character is still animating in the right direction. That's a neat little trick. So I'm going to save this one, export, and call this cover sneak left, and I'm not going to give it the root motion because it doesn't have root motion. Okay, so that's actually what I wanted to show in this video. I know it's kind of heavy on the Maya stuff for this one, but I'll continue in the next video. And of course you want to be doing the movement right yourself, but it's completely identical. So until then, in the next video, see you and bye bye.